Hello, Year 7. In this lesson, we're going to look at network topologies. In this lesson, we're going to understand what is meant by a network topology, and we're going to be able to explain some different types of networks as well. So, first things first, we need to understand these two questions. The first one being, what is a network? Basically, a network is two or more computers that are connected together. This is usually done by using internet cables or using the Wi-Fi. A topology, the second question, a topology is how a network is laid out that allows devices to communicate with each other. So how does, for example, at school, how does our computer connect to the printer? What layout is there that makes it all work? All right. There is three network types we need to look at. These are LAN here, WAN here, and there's a PAN here. LAN stands for Local Area Network. And a local area network is a network that's in a small area. So things like a bank, your house, a single school, a factory, or an office building. So these are places that are relatively small and are connected, all their devices are connected together. WAN stands for Wide Area Network, and wide area networks are spread over a large area. So if we think about banks, for example, these four banks here, these are, imagine this is a country, and these four banks are spread all over the place. These banks connect to each other in some way and share data. The same with Tobar Mat, for example. We've got all these schools connected to us. So, for example, Cleethorpes, Louth, Somercote, that sort of thing. All of the Tobar schools connect to each other, and we can share files with each other. If I was to head over to Louth Academy, for example, I can log in and access all of my files, just like you can if you want to go over there as well. A PAN stands for Personal Area Network, and this is just your personal little network. So, for example, you might have your phone that connects to your Google Chromecast or your Fire Stick, or you might have some wireless headphones like the Google Pixel Buds or the Apple AirPods, stuff like that. That's a personal area network. All right. We need to look at these four topologies here. There's a bus, star, ring, and a mesh. So the first one we're going to look at is something called a bus. Bus is rarely used nowadays. It used to be very common back in like 1990 odd, but now it's gone a bit out of date. So the pros of a bus are that it's cheap, as it uses less cables, and it's easy to add a computer without disruption. Disadvantages are that if there's a lot of users, the network is slow, and if the cable fails or doesn't work, there's no network. So if we look at this picture here, you'll see this cable. This little blue line represents a cable, by the way, and the data travels through this cable here. So all the data travels through this one cable and connects all of these devices to the network. So you can imagine if this cable breaks, all of these computers don't have network access. They can't access the network. It says here, data flows two ways, data collides. Data flows this way and this way, left and right, through this one cable. So if we imagine this cable is this road here, these cars are coming through, but these cars or these bits of data can't go through because this data is coming through. So these bits of data have to wait until this data has passed. So these cars are coming around here. They're going over this bridge, but these cars have got to wait until this data is gone before that can go. Otherwise, they're going to crash. And that's why the data is really, very slow. Ring is the next one. You see it's a ring because it's shaped like a ring. Circle with branches off it. Again, it's not very often used nowadays. However, the pros of this are it's cheap to expand. You can add stuff very easily. Data flows in one direction. not the band, I mean the one direction, the direction it goes in. So no data collides, like this road here, nothing happens there because it's just one road, like a one-way street, for example. Only the cars can drive in one direction. And there's no reliance on central computer either. So disadvantage is, if there's a lot of people, again, the network is slow because more data trying to get through it. If it's a one-lane road and all these cars are coming round here, it's going to be slower. Whereas if it was a bit wider, a road, for example, more cars could travel. So that's why this is very slow. And if the cable breaks here, the whole network falls. It doesn't work. All right. Star. This is the most common network nowadays, and in the middle of a star, you have something called a hub, and a hub is like your router at home. So all the devices connect to a hub or using a switch. So you'll imagine this hub here. All the wires plug into this hub, and the hub provides them with the network. So if a cable fails, only one workstation will be affected. So if the cable to this printer here broke, all of these would still work, but the printer wouldn't because there's no data coming to it. Again, it's easier to add devices to it because you can literally just plug another cable in and have more computers to it. It's expensive because you need more cables, and these hubs are not very cheap. Failure of the hub, this bit here, will mean all of these devices fail. Won't work. Because if this hub breaks, all these computers and printers are not getting access to the network. Next one is called a mesh. You see it's a bit all over the place. So data travels through all of these lines. Every single one of these lines carries data. So data, pros of this are that data can be transmitted from different devices simultaneously. So data can go through all these devices fine. If one component fails, there is an alternative route. So what I mean by that is, if this cable here broke, these two computers can still get access to the network because it's got loads more cables that connect to it. So this one, for example, this cable connects, this cable connects, this cable connects. This one here, this cable connects, this cable connects, and this cable connects. So that still carries and still have access to the network.